Managing time. It's cool to win at poker, right? It's more fun when you win. And the pregame is going to be a big way that you do this. Taking care of everything you need to before you play is going to help you have more time during the day to do everything else you want to do. I love the quote that when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, when you succeed at planning, you are planning to succeed. So by planning to succeed, you do a pregame. You do a pregame warm-up, whatever it is. I've got lots of info on that. We can do tons of that in the Q&A. Lots of options available. But it's just, again, saying that your performance is important today. If your performance is important, you'll put your pregame first. If your performance isn't important, you'll roll out of bed and just show up. And when's the last time that worked out for you? Pregame is huge. Set yourself up for success. And then know that breaks are your reset, your recharge and return. Get in the right mindset again. I talked about this a lot in the 5 pillars of peak performance poker and how to get the most out of your breaks and not fall into the traps that most people do on the breaks of just getting caught up in the conversation that doesn't serve them. Also, listen to your body. Honor your body. If your body says, I've got to go to the bathroom, go to the effing bathroom. Don't worry about missing a hand. It's not the end of the world. And you're probably not going to play the hand very well if you're thinking about how badly you got to go. If you need to take a walk, take a walk. You're feeling tired? Splash some water on your face or do whatever it is you do to make yourself feel more awake. It's okay, maybe better to miss a hand if it means when you do play, you'll play better, right? Like some people think, oh, I can't miss a hand. Every hand matters. Well, how much does the hand matter when you're playing on your C game? If you could miss 2 hands and play 95% of the remaining hands on your A game. And little things like this, when you look at the bigger picture of it, they make sense. But in the moment you say, well, I have an edge. I don't want to miss a hand. Well, how big is your edge when you're not on your best? How much bigger could your edge be? Dinner breaks, same story as breaks. If you don't plan it, you'll just end up going to wherever, whatever, eating whatever, with whoever, wasting tons of time and thought power figuring out what you want from the menu. It's just inefficient. When you've planned, the more you plan, the more decision-making power you have available. And like I said, if you figure this out on the fly, it's less willpower for making decisions at the poker table later. You want the decision-making power for the poker table, so you want to automate everything else as much as possible because you're going to run into some tough spots, especially late in the day. And the fresher you are, the less decisions you've made throughout the day, the less you'll suffer from decision-making fatigue, which is a real thing, multi-tablers, and the better you'll play. Cool down is also key. Elliot Rowe talks about it a lot in his A-Game Poker Masterclass, which I'm going to do an in-depth review on next week on YouTube. So if you enjoyed the Phil Ivey Masterclass review, get ready for another one next week. But with a cool down routine, it's important to let go of what happens at the poker table and put it in perspective. And if you don't do a proper process of separating and disconnecting, it's easy to think that what happened at the poker table is the end of the world or the biggest thing and let it, creep over in the rest of your time in Vegas, which will lead to poor decisions. Whereas if you separate yourself from it and bringing yourself back to an even keel, you are less likely to be tempted into the distractions. You're less likely to try to medicate yourself with various substances or activities which have a cost and don't serve you in the long run. And if you're able to stay away from those, bring yourself to an even keel, you're more likely to achieve your goals, which is probably what you want when you're spending time and money, investing time and money, traveling to an event like this. Slim Shady says Bally's has a great 8 p.m. daily for $150. Sounds like a great tournament for the low rollers. Thank you for sharing, brother. Managing emotions. This is where it gets tough. First thing to do to keep your emotions in check, because everyone knows how wild emotions can run, especially when you're under high pressure and high stress. Focus on what you can control. Forget about what you can't, and otherwise you will go insane. If you focus on the things that are outside of your control, get ready for a life of insanity. I've tried it. It's not fun. Focus on what you can control, accept what you can't. If you're going to play poker and you're going to play poker tournaments, you got to be ready to embrace variance. Embrace the roller coaster. You signed up for variance. You signed up for tournament poker. Don't act surprised or shocked when things happen. If you get 2 outed, it happens. If you 2 out them, it happens. If you lose a huge flip, it happens. It's not a shocker when we get eliminated from a tournament. That's what's going to happen 99% of the time. Yet for some reason, people forget that. So just embrace the roller coaster. Know that you're going there to play your best. You're going to bring your A game, and that also like you're going to have fun. Part of the reason you're probably playing tournaments instead of cash is because they're more fun. So just embrace the ride. Don't get frustrated or annoyed with it. It is what it is, and it's meant to be enjoyed. Speaking of variance, choose your level of variance. Stakes and amount of events played determine the level of variance, as does field size. If you want to cash often and you want to have a high cash streak for your summer, play smaller fields. If you want to win big and go for those, lottery style payouts, be ready to break out 90% of the time or more, because that's the reality of playing big field tournaments. Having a way to reset and, keep yourself sane and in check, whether it's self-talk, meditation, movement, writing, floating, just have something. You already know what works for you. Implement it while you're there. Bring it with you. You'll feel much better. And check in regularly to ensure that you're on your A game. Don't just let yourself autopilot. Check in, stay present. It's easy to fix it when you catch it and snap yourself back to a high level of performance. But if you autopilot, you can easily slip into your D game, your E game, or even your F game without realizing it. So just check in with yourself, be honest with yourself, and don't be afraid to use that reset strategy. And finally, to manage emotions, separate from the game and separate from other people. Because of the stress that people are under, there is so much toxic energy and negative energy in there from the pains of gambling. People don't like losing money. Money is linked to survival. Losing money means I'm moving towards death in a way. So it's understandable people would get upset and feel pain, but they're just trying to vent, and you don't want to let people drain you. So once you've done your thing, once you've played your game, separate yourself and recharge. If you want to hang out with people in the right environments at the right time. Don't just hang around them at the poker room. Don't spend too much time in the poker room. A lot of toxic energy in there. Better to avoid it. Also, disconnect from the outcomes. There's no point in getting hung up on things outside your control. So connect to what you can control and judge yourself by how well you play, not how well you run. And this will keep your emotions in check, because your emotions are connected to how you're judging yourself, and how you judge yourself is connected to what you choose to prioritize and focus on and measure yourself by. All right, managing distractions. This one's really key because there is tons of stuff going on at the Rio and other casinos. I get pretty distracted myself visually, which is why sunglasses and hats help keep me out of trouble. I can't help it. It's in my DNA. So the first option for managing distraction is earplugs. This is one I'm a big fan of. I think I'm one of the first people who was implementing this. The thing with earplugs is you can still hear all the action of what's going on, but it kind of quiets down the crickets and the chip stack shuffling that's happening outside. So it's no longer overwhelming. That being said, I'm someone who's pretty sensitive and takes a lot in and processes a lot. So I need to turn the volume down. Earplugs are a great way to do that while not fully disconnecting yourself from the game. Next is music, which can help or harm. When thinking about music, think about what kind of state it puts you in. Will it put you in a focused state of mind? Will it put you in a happy state of mind, a depressed state of mind, angry state of mind, elevated state of mind, party state of mind? That's going to carry over into your play. Whatever you're listening to is going to shape your state of mind, which is going to shape your state of play. I have some songs that I listen to that really get me focused. One is The Fire by The Roots. That's when I listened to on every break at the Fallsview Poker Classic before I chopped it. So there's a lot of positive association with that song. Think about what songs you have listened to when good things were happening, and consider putting those on your playlists, because that's what it will trigger when you hear it, is the experiences associated with the times you listen to the song the most. Next are binaural beats, which in my opinion are the absolute nuts while playing. They snap you into a specific state, whether you want to be in an alpha focus state or a theta meditative state or a delta relaxed state. Binaural beats do it automatically. They're the nuts. Also, speaking of the nuts, meditation MP3s are also great. They can get you into an even deeper state of focus or relaxation, and they help with kind of reprogramming the deeper patterns and non-serving programming that are there. The only downside with them is you can't listen to them while playing. So this is more of a pre-game, break time, and post-game hack to throw in the mix, whereas binaural beats you can listen to all day, every day. So that's how I would balance the two, because they're both very valuable. And like Studidasis says, there's plenty of free binaural beats on YouTube. Next thing let's do is nothing. As long as you won't get distracted, if you can listen to nothing, you're going to get everything the game has to offer. You're going to hear all the table talk. You're going to know all the hands. You're going to know what the dynamics are, what emotional state people are in. It's a very powerful place to be coming from. And that's the biggest edge, is getting that information. The main thing when it comes to that is just choosing to focus. What you put your attention on is your choice. You can choose to focus on the game or the cute cocktail waitress walking around the room offering cigarettes and candy. Just know that at the end of the day, where you choose to place your focus largely determines what results you will get. And I'm assuming if you're at the World Series of Poker or any poker event out there in general, your main goal is to win. And it comes back down to setting that intention. Choose to focus. Choose to play your best poker. Choose to keep your head in the game, and you will be rewarded. If you don't choose one of those things, someone else is going to make the choice for you, and that's where you'll find yourself being like, I don't remember any showdowns from the last 2 hours. So just choose to focus and then implement the audios and things that will help you do that most easily. It's all about making things easy for yourself. And lastly, managing energy. Know your limits. You're not invincible. Nobody is. I thought I was when I was 23. I'm 33. I'm not invincible. And I can only imagine at 43 how much less invincible I'll be. Doesn't mean I can't be wise. Doesn't mean I can't be smart, organized, and use the superhuman powers of intuition and intelligence and organization to get great results. But know your limits. Be fair with yourself. Accept your humanity, your human body, and work within it. When you understand your capacity and your capability, you won't try to do more than is possible, and therefore you'll pick the events that make sense. My best friend's summers, and mine too, were when we were selective with our volume. It's easy when the schedule comes out and there's all the hype, the World Series is here, to want to play everything. And in our mind, it seems super doable. You're like, oh, I could play this, and then like, oh, I can hop over here to the Venetian and play that tournament. And then like, if I bust that, I can play the nightly at Planet Hollywood. And all that seems like a great idea in practice because you're going to get the most stimulation, the most shots, the most action. But what's the reality and the health realities of spending that much time playing poker, traveling from casino to casino to casino with no break, spending money on taxis, not eating? Think about these things. It's easy to want to play everything. In our mind, it seems super doable. But like my mentor, Paul Chek, says, when was the last time your body could actually cash a check that your mind or ego wrote? Deep stuff. So don't fall for the hype. Be willing to skip events and be proud of yourself for having the willpower to say no. Because if you can't say no to playing an event, how can you say no to tempting pot odds when you know your hand is no good, etc., etc.? Just don't fall for the hype. Stick to your intention, stick to your focus, and you'll be the one who's making great decisions while everyone else is just falling into the groupthink. It's not how often you play, but how well you play that matters. If you've planned out what events you want to play and what are most important, becomes very easy to build your game plan around performing at your peak in those events. So yes, it's hyped up. Yes, it's huge. It's the 50th year. But I don't think they're ending it there. I don't think the World Series of Poker is stopping anytime soon. There's going to be 51, the 52nd, the 53rd, all coming. So keep in mind, there's always going to be another WSOP. So do what will make you happy and excited to come back, and what will maximize your EV while you're there this year. Not to max out your stimulation, be like, I got to get the most out of my time in Vegas. You'll be able to go back. There's no scarcity. There's no limited time frame here. It's all available. Those are my keys to managing energy, because A big thing is stress. If you got FOMO and you think you need to do all these things and you're not, it's draining your energy. When you just accept what you want to do and forget about the other stuff, there's no energy tax on you anymore. So just really being the captain of your own ship and the boss of your own life is kind of the way to go. And speaking of being the captain of your own ship, the boss of your own life, that's something I talked about tons in my WSOP winning formula. That was a presentation I gave 3 years ago. When I was going for my 5th consecutive cash in the World Series Poker main event. Spoiler, I broke the streak because I spent the night before the tournament with a lovely young lady. Lack of priorities happens. Should have followed my own advice, but hey, that's life. Happens sometimes. So with the truth being out there, my WSOP winning formula is a great program for getting ready for the WSOP. It's available in the Grip store for $199. But what I really want to talk about is next weekend. I'm hosting the Winning Weekend. It's going to be a 2-day event, probably starting at noon or 1 p.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Pacific, so that if you're playing at the World Series of Poker, you can actually attend the sessions before you go play, was the idea behind it. And in that weekend, I'm going to go way more in depth than what we did today. We just scratched the surface. What the Winning Weekend is the Punta Cana Poker Classic prep class remaster. That's the same prep class that I told you about that I did with Ali Imsirovic back in 2015. I'm remastering it for the World Series of Poker and including all the additional things that I've learned in the last 4 years of studying to bring this to the next level. I'm going to talk about how to approach day 1, day 2, and day 3 of the tournaments, whether it's a World Series, Venetian, or a Win tournament, and key things to focus on to play your best. It's going to be a great event. I'm super excited for it, and you won't want to miss it. So for more info and to register, visit grips.com/WSOP-class or email evan@grips.com, because I will be... Yeah, for anyone who registers this weekend, this is why I wanted to do this event tonight rather than waiting till next week, because the original plan was, just do the free webinar right before the premium one. I'm like, no, man, I got to give my homies notice. So for anyone who registers for the Winning Weekend this weekend, either June 1st or June 2nd, I'm giving $100 off the ticket price. So instead of $199, you can attend for $99. So if you're interested in that, just reach out via email to evan@grips.com to cash in on that. I will be working all weekend as usual, so I'll be checking my emails and I will respond to you rather quickly if you just get in touch there. I hope you can join me for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to be talking about everything I'm going to be implementing as well, so I can make the most of my World Series this summer. Next up, I would like to give a shout out and thank you to my sponsors for tonight's presentation, Fedor Holtz and Elliot Rowe being the first. Pretty proud to announce this partnership. They reached out to me about a week ago asking if I would help them promote their new program, which is totally in alignment, the Primed WSOP Preparation Package, which includes a whole lot of stuff. Let me read through my notes. It includes Fedor Holtz's Essential World Series of Poker Strategies live webinar hosted by Jonathan Little, where Fedor did a Q&A with Jonathan's peeps, which will take place on June 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's got Elliot Rowe's How to Prime Your Mind for WSOP Success live webinar. Elliot Rowe is the nuts. He just came out with an amazing course, which I've gone through. It's really good. There's a lot of carryover from what you learned today. Check it out. That's going to be on June 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So there's a Tuesday webinar and a Friday webinar next week. 5 newly mixed WSOP audios exclusively available with this package, $25 each, so $125 value. 5 newly mixed poker audios exclusively available for the WSOP. Also, that's another $125 value. You get a Prime Mind 7-day winning mindset audio course, which would be great things to listen to in the morning before your sessions. That's $150 value, and a Primed Mind yearly membership, which is a $60 value. The 2 webinars are worth $300 each, So all told, the value is about $1,055, and they have discounted it to $285. If you're interested in getting that to really prime yourself for peak performance at the World Series this summer and for future tournaments, because all this stuff carries over, visit gripst.com/primed. And as an additional bonus, when you use code EVAN30, because that's the beauty of being a partner with these guys, is I get to give discounts to my peeps. That's you. You will get an additional 30% off. So your total price ends up being like $199. It's like 80% off. And yeah, the beauty of the timing of the webinar is no overlap. Elliot's on Tuesday. My next one's on Thursday. Fedor's on Friday. And then the winning weekend is Saturday, Sunday. How's that for the ultimate World Series of Poker preparation? Yep. That's what I'm doing to prep.